Ja, welkom vrienden bij de nieuwe aflevering van de ABTT. Maar een special, dit keer niet AT-op naar de 50. Nou, hij valt er eigenlijk wel bij. Want we hebben een tijdje geleden een prachtige special gemaakt met niemand minder dan Colin Blunstone. Aardige man, hij vindt mij ook leuk.
Hi, I'm Colin Blunstone. You're watching ABTT on 192.
Zie je wel? Mooi hè? Wat kunnen we dan allemaal verwachten in deze ABTT-special met Colin Blunstone? Nou, natuurlijk gaan we even praten over She's Not There. Hij vertelt over Tell Her No, Caroline Could Buy, Andorra en natuurlijk Time of the Season. Misschien wel de allergrootste, hoewel She's Not There is ook wel goed. En een absolute favoriet van mij, Touch. Hier is een special van Colin Blunstone in de ABTT.
Well, let me tell you about the way she looked, the way she acted, the color of her hair, but she's not there.
The first single, She's Not There.
Yes.
It's not so long time ago.
Well, sometimes it seems like a lifetime ago. It was the spring 1964, and I remember it as if it was yesterday. We recorded in the evening at Decca Studios in West Hampstead in London, and we arrived about 7 o'clock. And the recording engineer had been at a wedding all day,
Okay.
and he was very, very drunk. And, and we were only schoolboys, really. We were very young, and we arrived in the studio. And this guy, not only was he very drunk, but he was very aggressive. And so, after about 20 minutes in the studio of what has become a 50-year career, after 20 minutes, I knew recording was not for me. This guy was crazy, and I thought, well, nothing's ever going to happen here. Well, then we got a bit of luck. He collapsed.
Okay.
He went out cold, and we carried him out of the studio and put him in a black London taxi, and we just waved goodbye, and that was the last we saw of him. And his assistant took over, and his assistant was called Gus Dudgeon, and he went on to be a very, very famous producer who produced most of Elton's huge, probably the first 10 or 15 albums that Elton did, Kiki Dee, David Bowie, and that was Gus Dudgeon's first session ever. She's Not There, and it was our first session ever. So he never forgot that, and neither did I.
Right now, I'd like you to meet some people. What is your name, please?
Rodney Terence Argent, Hugh Birch Grundy, Paul Ashley Warren Atkinson, Christopher Taylor White, Colin Edward Michael Blunstone.
You probably know them better as the Zombie.
But she's not there.
We gaan weer even terug naar de tijd of 1964, I believe. Tell Her No.
Tell Her No, I think it was, yeah. We certainly recorded it in 64, and I'll tell you why, because when we were actually doing the session, our publisher rang up from the States and told us that She's Not There was #1 in Cashbox.
Yeah.
So here we were, 19 years old, and we were in the middle of the session recording Tell Her No, and we found out we were #1 in the States. Yeah.
Hip hip hooray.
Great times.
The song Tell Her No. It's a little bit different than She's Not There.
Yeah, we never ever thought like that. We were never trying to record follow-ups, and we were never trying to be commercial. We were trying to record the best we could. We were trying to give the best performances we could. And Rod Argent wrote both of those songs. And, he's just trying to write the best possible songs he can. I know that he wasn't copying, but he was influenced by Burt Bacharach at around that time, and some of those progressions probably are a little reflection of some of Burt Bacharach's writing. So I think that's what he was kind of thinking about. But I also remember from that session, the guys used to record 4 or 5 backing tracks. It was quite primitive how recording was achieved in those days. And they would record as a band, and then I would go in and sing at the end of the evening. And I fell asleep. It was getting late. And I woke up to do Tell Her No. And I think it's the second chorus. I just mumble a couple of lines. It doesn't make any sense. And I said to the producer, I said, I'm really sorry, I can sing that again, it's not a problem. And he said, it's fine. Don't worry. And Tell Her No sold nearly 1 million copies and was a top 5 single in America. And two of the lines on there don't make any sense.
Ja, we zitten hier weer even met Colin Blunstone natuurlijk. Maar we gaan het nu hebben over Time of the Season. It was one of the last. There was a little gap between the big hits.
There was, actually. You're quite right. And we decided we'd like to record an album ourselves, mostly with Rod Argent and Chris White acting as producers. We didn't have an outside producer in the studio with us. We managed to get into Abbey Road, which I've never understood, because until that time, Abbey Road only ever had artists who were EMI artists, and we were on CBS. We were in Studio 3 in Abbey Road, and we went into the studio as the Beatles came out, having just recorded Sgt. Pepper. We were the next band in. They were mostly in Studio 2, and we were mostly in Studio 3, but we used the same engineers that they used. And they made some big progressions in recording technique during that album, and we benefited from all of that. And plus, there was an instrument called a mellotron left behind. It was John Lennon's mellotron, and he left it behind. And we used it almost exclusively on our album Odyssey and Oracle. There's mellotron all over it, and that was John Lennon's mellotron. And Time of the Season was actually the last song we recorded for the album. We were running out of money. We had to record very, very quickly, and the song had only been written in the morning, and I didn't really know it very well. It had just been written. So I was trying to sing it in the afternoon, and Rod was talking to me through the studio wall. He was in the control room, and he was going, "Colin, no, it's not quite right. Can you just do..." And this went on for some time, and I'm getting more and more angry, and I nearly didn't sing it because I can't say the language, but I said to him, "If you know it so well, you come in here and you sing it." And he said to me, "You're the singer. You stand out there till you get it right." But it was slightly different language.
Yeah.
And anyway, I'm really glad that I stayed there and I sang Time of the Season. It was #1 in America. It sold 2 million copies. So hopefully I got the tune right in the end.
Ja, in de ABTT heb ik heel speciaal iemand naast mij. Colin Blunstone, ook niet de eerste, de beste. Your first album?
One year.
1 year? Well, you know, if you get an album, you listen to the tracks. And I listened to the track and it's beautiful. For one reason, because the name was in it, Caroline. And Veronica was a pirate station and Radio Caroline.
Yeah.
I thought that the lyrics were Radio Caroline, but it was your ex-wife, I believe?
Well, ex-girlfriend.
Girlfriend.
We were very young, and she was a very famous model in the UK.
Yeah.
And later on she was in some films, including a James Bond film, The Spy Who Loves Me, I think.
Okay.
She was in a helicopter, and it got shot out of the sky. It's a very sad story.
Yeah.
And that was Caroline. And like a lot of young love affairs, of course, it comes to an end. And I was sitting at home one evening, and it just came. You know, I just sang that. So that was my goodbye to Caroline.
Caroline, goodbye.
So Caroline was goodbye.
Afraid so.
And then came another beautiful song, Andorra.
Yeah,
What's the story?
Well, I didn't write that song. That was written by Chris White, who was the bass player in the Zombies. And it's line for line about a journey that he made going in search of the sun. He drove from London all the way down to Spain, and it rained the whole way. And then when he was down there, he heard this Spanish saying, and he wrote the song with the words in Spanish: "When you run for the sun, you catch the rain." And that's a Spanish saying, and you know, he wrote it with the Spanish words, and we were all going, "Yeah, great, but what does it mean?" You know? And then we changed it. It's a great song. I love it, and we'll be playing it tonight. Hi, I'm Colin Blunstone. You're watching ABTT.
In de ABTT zit ik hier even met Colin Blunstone weer, je weet wel. And one of my favorite songs is a single. It didn't do so very much, I believe. It's called Touch.
Oh, yeah.
It's a perfect song.
Yeah, it's a lovely song written by Pete Bardens, who's one of the founder members of Camel. Sadly, he's passed away now. He went to live in America and he passed away, but a very prolific and very talented writer, and I think sadly underestimated, and a wonderful character. I work with Pete a lot, firstly as him being my producer, and secondly we were in a band together at one time called Keats, and he was a wonderful character. I love that song, yeah. Touch, I remember it well.